Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are doing a roundtable discussion. So let's introduce our guests. First up, let's start. Monique, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm Monique Nicole from Atlanta, Georgia.
Welcome. All right, somebody else jump in here.
Hi, I'm Chanelle. I'm originally from Harlem, but I reside in North Carolina currently.
How you doing? I'm Ron H, or some might say Ron Square, from Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Nita
the Diva, and I'm from Washington, D.C.
All right, Nita.
Hey.
Hey.
Jaunice Cromer, from Washington, D.C., but residing in Waldorf, Maryland.
Okay. All right.
Wyan Smith, based in Washington, D.C., but originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Hey.
Okay. And last but not least,
Jay Billion, Jason Evans, however you want to call me, in the Flix films. Currently in Boo. You know, always got a story trying to make you laugh.
right now. Okay, guys, so welcome. And guess what? We have a very special guest with us today. You may know her from Snowfall or BMF, where she played Mabel and she played the Black Diamond. You will know her as Christine Horn from now on, though, after this interview, because she is about to join us. So here she is.
Hey.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This is
we are very excited to talk to you. We have a lot of questions. A lot of you know her as Black Diamond or Snowfall, and also as Mabel on BMF. So, people have been very enamored with both of your characters in those shows. So I'm sure we have a lot to ask.
Go right ahead, aka Messy Mabel. I think that's the
Yes, indeed. So I'll let Tiffany kick us off with the questions.
Okay. Well, hi, Christine. Welcome to our show. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tiffany, and you're doing amazing work on BMF as Mabel and Black Diamond as Snowfall. And I want to ask you the same question that I presented to Russell, because we spoke to Russell Hornsby about the situation with he and Mabel, and I wanted to know, when you saw that script and did you know? I mean, I knew you probably thought that there was going to be backlash. Did you have any idea, like, the confusion, the drama it was going to cause on social media and the reception from the audience?
I really wish I could be a fly on the wall, because I hear there's like BMF groups and all kinds of stuff people are telling me about. I knew it was gonna be memorable. I did know that. One of our executive producers, Heather, after the party scene in episode 5, specifically when we finally have sex in the hallway, she came from behind the monitor and she's like, this is gonna be a problem for you in the best possible way. I think it's a testament, though, to a job well done. My whole thing is representation matters, period. There are Mabels all out there. We know Mabels. That's why I think people so much. And so I had to make sure I did justice for Mabel. And I knew also on paper, when people saw her immediately, would be like, oh, homewrecker. Oh, okay. Well, we are all the way we are for a reason. So my challenge then was, okay, well, why is she the way that she is? And what is part of her backstory? What's her history? Now, people may not care and not have any sympathy for her, and that's not the case. But for me as an actor and creating her, needing to know that there's hurt there, there's unworthiness there's lack of love there, lack of self-love, self-sabotaging every relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic, like that kind of deep level. I think we start to see, like, around episodes 8, when in the easy rest, when things are not easy and that nobody's resting, I think that's where we start to see this conflict. And I think it's been an interesting journey. And trust me, I mean, my DMs are crazy, tag, everything from marriage proposals to all kinds of things. I I got a text today talking about you need something fixed at your house. Like,
no, that was my point. Okay.
Yeah, Ron, you can piggyback if you want to go next.
Well, I do have a question for Mabel, if you will.
Mabel.
Kind of put on your Mabel hat for a minute, because what I want to ask you, your intent with Charles, was that intentional? Were you trying to actually move in on Lucille, or was it just a physical thing? And I asked that because you did show up at the house, and you were really frisky when Mabel was just upstairs. So what was that all about, really?
for me, he was a conquest. It's
Oh.
the hunt, the thrill of the hunt.
Mm.
And again, rooted in, for me, rooted in unworthiness, lack of love, and just seeing something she wants and trying to find the fast route and getting it, and having a thrill off of it. That episode where she saunters into the kitchen and just messes with him, like that's just, it's all a game. I'm not saying it's a healthy game or that it's right, but I think she started out as a family friend, saw something she liked and was like, I wonder if I can get it. We all know those people. And then it's, how do I get it? And of course, look, Charles is going to cheat with somebody.
Okay.
Whether it was Mabel, the woman at the church he's in the band with, he was going to cheat eventually. I think if the season had wrote it out, we would have saw that. So yeah, that for me, it was a conquest and kind of thing, like once the hunt is over and you're not delivering, let me give you back.
That is too funny.
Well, my question is answered. Okay.
Well, my question for you comes from Snowfall. So we've seen that Jerome really put a pound in on Black Diamond. What was it like to film that scene?
It was hard. It was hard and it was intense. And amen, Joseph, he's such a pro and so caring, and because we'll just kind of be in it, we don't choreograph every single aspect of it, and he'll ad lib and things like that. So we just kind of got to be in it. But it was just brutal. I remember we were at the table read and I'm like, is he really going to pistol whip her to death? Like, he's not just going to shoot her. But he's been wanting Black Diamond in Dallas gone since season 4, since we shot Louis, so I get it. So it was like a culmination of all of that, plus his rage and anger with everything else going on. But it was intense. And fun fact that I had a body double, a stunt double on set who never got used.
Wow.
We ended up just shooting. And I remember being like, okay, Eamon, careful. I had just had fibroid surgery. I was okay, just don't press here. Make sure but he was just very caring and but we were both just committed to the scene. And that's just what it was. And
sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I think from what we all saw, it came out, I'm gonna say great for a lack of a word, but it was hard to watch.
I was gonna say that it looked real, very real. So you guys did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah. We just a little behind the scenes, we use when they're not on my face on set, we use these, what they call blood bags. And they have it's like a duffel bag, very heavy, and they lace it with all the blood and everything. So that's what he gets to punch as hard as he wants to, and had the blood splatter on the camera and all that. But yeah.
Yeah, it was gruesome. So great job. Chanelle, let's jump to you next.
Hi, Christine. Nice to meet you. Hi. My fellow New York sister. I know you're from the Bronx and from Harlem, so I definitely want to shout you out.
Thank
you. Oh God, I have
what's that?
Plenty of words. I'm thinking about Mabel. She definitely stirred up a lot of emotions, as well as Black Diamond. You were able to, I feel like, be blessed to show your range and have, the ability not to be typecasted in a sense, to where you're able to spark different emotions out of, the fans of the show. So with social media, I feel like it's added an additional layer to, actors and actresses and, how you guys, are able to move through life. So I just wanted to ask, how has your experience been with the feedback from the critics and the fans? With, I'm sure you've gotten, sympathy, you've gotten, praises, and then you've gotten, bashed, as, based on your characters. So how do you handle that as an actress? Like, in terms of your mental health, like, are you able to shut it down completely and separate it, or do you find times where it's kind of a struggle?
Yeah, I thank you for that question. I think it's a mix of both, and it depends on the day. And I know if I'm not in a space to receive it, I don't even go look. You go look for it, you're gonna find it. I think I've found it interesting that I've recently found out a lot of fans did not realize I was also Black Diamond, and they were like making all these memes that I was the same person. I'm like, yes, I'm the same person. And I actually think the timing of Snowfall premiering helped to quiet some of the blows from Mabel. But I was curious, especially after I think it started with the ceiling fan episode, when he came to fix the ceiling fan. And I was just curious what people were saying. And I just found, I was like, dang, they coming for Charles hard. Like I thought there was gonna be more backlash on me, but it's been so much more on him. When I was doing press during it, a lot of the journalists were saying, we think Charles is gonna get the blow, most of it. But it's been interesting. Sometimes I just cackle and laugh because I'm like, y'all are just really invested. And I love that. And we need fans to be invested because that's how our shows stay on. And it also means you're doing a good job, because I also see on the other side when people don't like some people's acting and how there's backlash on that. So I'd rather be on the other side of that conversation, and people feeling so invested in my story. But like I said, sometimes it is, because there are some fans also who don't know where the line is drawn. It's like, just saw me on the Grey's Anatomy. Like that's not real, Right. And so for that, I just try to be safe, and I'm just being cautious. Like I jokingly say I get marriage proposals, but I do get a lot of really random ass DMs now that my team, helps me sort through, because some of them get a little graphic and are a bit extra.
Okay.
But it comes with the territory, and I'm only shining brighter, so I have to understand that there's going to be more of that coming.
Yes. Okay. Let's get a gentleman in here again. Let's get Wyan. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, you're correct.
Hi
So
there.
you get 2 or more New Yorkers in one room. We have to shout out our boroughs. So I'm from Brooklyn. So another
down,
native New Yorker here. I won't break the X, always respect to the guests, of course. My question has more to do with preparation. So in a sense, Snowfall BMF are period pieces, and also kind of documenting realistic Black history. So what is some of the preparation that might have went into that, especially in contrast with a lot of the roles that you've already been a part of? What are some of the things you have prepared to do it? What are some of the conversations, stuff like that?
Ooh, good question. Well, prep is like one of my favorite things to do for all my characters. It starts with the research. So researching the time, the history. If someone's actually based off a real person, I like to find that out. Snowfall, fun fact, is Janine Daniels. She brought the idea of Black Diamond in Dallas to the show as a writer, because she knew Black Diamond in Dallas. These are real women in California, and she would hear their stories and all that. And so she brought them. So just talking to her and once we booked it, also fun fact, I originally auditioned for Dallas, and Dallas auditioned for Black Diamond at first. And then when it got down to the wire, they had to swap and re-audition. So hearing her stories and how they got down and rocked, like I just, made mental notes. Then of course, just thought about the time, and I love documentaries too. So watching different things. Then as far as character prep, I always I listen to music from that time, like what's my theme music? And I do that during the audition process, actually, because I love to see, what does this person feel like? What do they walk like? What do they talk like? If they walk into a room, what's the vibe we feel? Like for Mabel, for instance, I love to connect my characters to animals too. So for me, Mabel is a snake. Everything she does is calculated, is smooth, right? You never know when she's going to pounce. And for me, that helps me just ground me, know where I'm coming from and what I'm connecting to. So that's usually my process. And of course, like just we danced different back then. Like, so I had to, like, even in that scene with the ceiling fan, like I can dance like Christine wants to dance. Like, how, you know, how did we move back then? Like, what was that vibe? And like getting back in my body. And that's all the fun part, that creation. And then by the time you get to set, and then you're just discussing hair and wardrobe with the team, and it's a very collaborative effort. And that makes it fun. So by the time it shows up on the screen, it's something that I'm proud of, especially for BMF. I think they really went in, the whole team. People say Mabel's wig needs her own like credits. True.
Yeah. Like Eamon's wig, as you know, I know he calls his wig Sheila on Snowfall.
It is its own identity, truly. Yeah. So did that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good question.
Okay. Let's jump to Jaunice next. Jaunice. Jaunice, do you want to jump in next? Or is she freezing a little bit? I can tell. Okay. Let's go to Monique. Let's go to Monique in the meantime.
Sure. So hi, Christine, nice to meet you. Like you said earlier, both roles were memorable, you know, BMF and Snowfall. Did you have a role that you preferred over the other, or was it both equally enjoyable for you to portray?
I'm gonna say Mabel, just because I had more to sink my teeth into. Okay. In Snowfall, I was grateful, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times, you know, it was just a couple of lines here, a couple of scenes here. Even if my presence was there, you didn't really get to get deep with me. We, you know, had a quick scene, we, you know, protecting Damson, shooting somebody, and then we gone. So getting to play a character that has to tell this, that has an arc for one season, like getting to explore all of that, just for me as an actor, was just much more exciting and challenging, and fulfilling. You know, grateful for Snowfall and all it's done for me in my career. But yeah, I think our favorite days, my brain is going back to my first day on Snowfall. We shot out of order. So the first day was the funeral scene, the shooting up the funeral, season 4. Hadn't met anybody. We getting guns, and you're like, we've thrown into
bang. You started with the
bang. So, and they're like, don't smile when you shoot. Like, I was just so excited to be there. Like, oh my God. So yeah, just totally different energy. But yeah, Mabel.
Okay.
I love doing also. I love when I do get to guest star things that are more than one episode, because you get to just create a bit more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Ron Hunter, hop on in.
What a pleasure. Thank you for being here, Christine. This is fantastic. And the fact that you're playing like dual roles that we're all watching and seeing masterfully, I must say. But I'm always the guy with the weird questions. Hopefully it's not that weird. So if you don't mind, I have a question for both characters. One, I'll start with the Mabel character. I understand, you know, it was like about the catch, and understanding that, you know, that's someone that, you know, he's not obtainable, but, you know, I just want him, right? My whole thing is, I wondered more about like Mabel's backstory, like what got her to this point, you know, because to go after a married man, and then to go after a married man of a friend of yours, and to go after a married man of a friend of yours and their church going folk, it's like, you know, you know, you got to be living on the edge. So I wonder a little bit more about Mabel's backstory, about like what she went through as far as dealing with men. I mean, I know she's been hurt before, but I just wonder a little bit about that, because they didn't really, I don't think they delved into that as much as I would have liked to know.
But she said they were swingers. She did say.
Yeah, but I want to know what happened. Like, you know, as far as, because when you swinging, that's the lifestyle. You having fun. Like, what went wrong here?
Get broken, right? You know, and on a show like that, you know, you can only go so far with creation, and that's where they hire pros to do that inner work so that you can deliver a performance. So for me, I just created that, you know, all her life, like she used her looks and her charm and her vivaciousness and being life of the party to get by just in life in general. And that's has been enough. And in her marriage, in a sacred space, even though swingers are not, for that bond to be broken by his infidelity, by, you know, sticking with the other woman and then breaking the rules. You know, most swingers have rules that they follow. So once you break those rules, that's a deeper level of hurt. So now my looks, my charm, that's not even enough, right? Even being a swinger is not enough, my God. And so I think just even the idea to see what it feels like. What does it feel like to be the other woman? You know, let me try it, you know, and then I think that's where the game comes. And I think there is some conflict throughout for me, like, because we know it's going to end, you know, it's not this, he will never be mine. So I have to justify that and just make it a game and just make it a conquest. I'm not looking for him to get divorced, Lucille, and her house is fixed. Her walls are painted. So that's not the goal. So the goal, you have to justify it another way. So that's the creation that I did for myself.
Okay. And just real quick, my Snowfall question. That scene when we found out that obviously you had passed away was rough. And then as soon as it happened, all I could think about is her kids. And then, oh man, the whole thing of Dallas saying that you guys made a pact that if anything, you know, that whole thing made me think at any point, and I don't know if this was something that was in the story arc or the character arc, at any point, was there ever a notion that maybe Dallas and Black Diamond would do something different? Because after you had already, like, Jerome was very intent on how he felt about y'all. And after that whole thing happened, I mean, y'all shot his woman, and then you still got to be somewhere around this in his physical presence on a daily. I just think that at some point, maybe they thought, hey, it's too hot. We need to get out of here.
I think also they felt protected because of Franklin. And Franklin was the big boss. Like, yeah, Unc is doing his thing, but Franklin's the big boss. And, you know, we work for whoever's, if Jerome would have came with some bigger money, we probably would have went there too. Like, whatever, I'm sure, right? Let's ride this out till we can. You know, someone else asked me earlier today, like, what do you think, you know, when do you think this would have ended? And I feel like this was not the forever game, the forever goal for Black Diamond and Dallas. I feel like once they got what they thought was enough money to be super comfortable for their kids and for themselves, like, they go do whatever else. You know, the story that you didn't hear this in the script, but because it was part of the actual women, but they were, you know, were nurses at first, like nurses, and then they started stripping because there was more money in stripping than being a nurse. And then so it's just like they're very goal oriented, you know what I mean? Like come up and you know, really, because they, you know, in season 5, you know, we had that moment with Jerome and Louis where I kind of apologized for shooting her, kind of. And it's just this thing of like, I just want a better life. Like, I'm dropping my kids off. It ain't personal. This is personal. These kids and my life is personal.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Jaunice, did you get your sound back yet, or not yet? Okay. Well, we'll come back to her again. Okay. Let's go to Nita.
She's looking like she can't hear you though.
I know. She is having technical difficulties because I messaged her and things. So she's having a hard time connecting to the audio.
Okay. She can always text her question too, maybe.
Yes. I was gonna say that. Tell her to text us her question.
Yes. So hey, Christine, I'm Nita. Thank you so much for your work. I'm so excited to be here talking to you today. And I had a question about Mabel. Now, I think you might have addressed it. And I have a 2-part question because I want to know was there an alternate ending to the scene between Lucille and Mabel? Was it a little bit more? Did that frying pan get some more action? Or was that just the way it was?
Well, the fans, they was not happy. They was like, Lucille needed to. It's so funny. I was actually, I'll probably post it this Friday now that the show's done. But fun fact, y'all are here first. I did have a stunt double that day who was there. There was another pan that was rubber on set. There in an earlier version of a script, there was this idea that we would see what Lucille wants to do, which is take me down. That's why I had a stunt double. But I think somewhere along the lines with production and just creative team decided to not go that route. So, and another thing with that scene, a beautiful thing, that was one of my favorite scenes that I shot with Nicole. Like, gosh, she's just a gem. And we really bonded after that scene, actually. Hung out last week here in Atlanta. We didn't rehearse that scene. So we got to say, it was actually my last day of filming in the entire season. It was the last scene of the night around 1 a.m. And Nicole came downstairs. She loves to use peppermint essential oil just to keep her energy up. And we just sat at the table and read it. And then we started shooting. I had no idea what she was going to do. She didn't know what I was going to do. And it really helped the moment. And I remember being so affected. Like Christine was affected. Like I ain't talked to her. I left. I ain't saying goodbye to nobody. I was like, I'm out.
It did feel very authentic.
Yeah, that's the beauty of a pro like Nicole too. Like, and that's like the fun stuff. Like getting to be in the gym with another actor. Like that was like working all season with Russell. Like that's like being in the gym. Like, come on, let's do this. So yeah, and I think we just allowed each other to have that space. And like 2 weeks later, we talked on the phone for like an hour and just talked about that day and the process. But so yeah, that's the answer to that. So yeah, you got a little inside scoop on a potential alternate ending.
Okay, see, I knew there was something else. I'm like, just ask, it might be something else. Okay, so my second part of my question was, Charles became lovingly, pun intended, known as Two Pump Chuck on my channel. So I wanted to know.
I gotta check your channel out.
Wonderful. You know, it's on social media too.
No, I know.
Did you end things with him because of his performance? Because he seemed like, the first time it was like 2 pumps. Then the last time he was having some issues.
Don't answer on the grounds it may incriminate us men.
I think it's a mix. I think it was a mix of emotions at this point. It's like, first of all, it's like the hunt. The hunt is done. Conquest done. That's number one. Number two, this should be easy. This should be fun. I mean, I'm trying to take the strip club. I'm trying to, keep the fire going, and then so that fizzling out, then was like, well, what the hell are we doing if it ain't fun, it's not easy, and it's not. This is my friend. What am I doing?
Right.
So I think it's a mix of all those emotions there. I think if he kept bringing it and the energy kept being electric, we would have went a lot longer.
Perfect.
But Mabel ran out of quarters. Like we
All right, Jason, jump in here.
Okay, y'all waited till last, so y'all took all the good questions. So I gotta dig at the bottom of the barrel for some stuff. But I do have a couple of things. I'm one of those people that had no idea you were both characters. I started following you on Twitter because of one of the characters. I don't even remember which one now. And I was like, oh shit, really? I had no idea. So let me ask you this. As a person and what I can see online and what you present today, you're very lighthearted, seem like a very bright, spot. Like I'm talking about energy wise. You seem like you're very light. and you play two extremely dark characters. So my question is this, is that most actors, you know, I do a little stuff with film myself. Most actors put a lot of themselves in a role, even when the role takes them in different places. What was the connection? Do you have any connection personally with either of those characters, being that they were so dark and so extreme? Did you pull any of yourself into those characters to create them, or was everything basically external?
Oh, good, juicy question. And I would say absolutely. So yes, my energy is bright. I'm a bright, beautiful light, right? So I believe like that. When we first meet Mabel at dinner, she's bright, she's vivacious, she's fun, you know, like there is that. I also know Christine, once she sets her eyes on the prize, she gets what she wants.
Right.
You know, I'm a big student of law of attraction. I manifest, I get what I want, you know, like everything always works out.
I heard that.
So that energy of drive and tenacity just in life, I use that drive for Mabel. She's going to get what she wants. She set her eyes on that she's going to get that. So I can connect that there. I'm also, you know, I can be sensual. I can be feminine. I can play in that. With Black Diamond, even though it was dark, especially more so in the first couple of seasons, they were like, especially season 4, when we first got introduced, we were like kind of like the comic relief at times. You know, we brought some lighthearted to the show, and that, you know, I like that comedy side of me got to come out to play. But in real life also, Christine, don't piss me off. Christine is a rage here. I'm Jamaican. Like there's fierce energy here. And so when I need to tap into that, I know to tap into that. Typically roles prior to these two, most of the stuff I would go out for, if you look at my body of work, has usually taps into one of my two sides, either very warm or authoritative. And sometimes it's a mix of the two. So I play a lot of doctors and, you know, therapists, because I have that quality about me. But I can also be like when I was in The Terminator, I can kick some ass and don't cross me. So knowing that's my natural essence, but I think we always absolutely sprinkle pieces of ourselves in there. But I'm always like, okay, I have this quality. Can I see, is that quality in her? And if so, how do I use it for this character?
You definitely pulled, like you said, some things out of yourself, because you were so different energy-wise in each character that it was such a separation that I couldn't even connect the two until I saw it. And I was like, oh, okay. And so, like you said, I look like the rest of us, I think about 70% of us here are New Yorkers. So, so we're used to the hustle and we're used to the game. And I get it. Like you put all that into the character, and phenomenal. And I hope to see you in not just side roles. I think that you would play some dope lead roles based on what I've seen in those two characters. You have like serious range that's so far, like I said, like you said, you could look the same and people still can't recognize you. That says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually just got back from South Africa. I was in Johannesburg for 3 months shooting, starring in a new show that'll be coming. It's called Classified. It'll come to Netflix and Amazon freebie here. So you already speaking my language. We already start up, ready to go. You know, and a little something I do too with any character. I do this physically. I treat Christine like a bodysuit. And whenever I'm getting ready to work, she comes off. Zipper starts here. You unzip, I come out of her.
Wow.
Step into whoever it is. I physically do this and zip them up. And that's who I am all day.
Wow.
You know?
That's how most people act in a 9 to 5. We pretend like
You got that right, Jason.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get home and unzip.
I get it.
You know, that's also what I love working with Damson too, because on set of Snowfall, once he goes in his accent, he does not come out of his accent. So he's going in his car at night. That season, I forget, it was 4 or 5 where he had the cane. I can't remember the season that was. I think it was 4. All day. I don't care if he was going to the craft services truck. I don't care if he was going to the bathroom. He stays in it. And I love like that fully committed energy. It just makes the work easier.
That's method acting, though. That's a very hard thing to do.
It's pieces, and I think it's sprinkled. Like I'm not full method anything. I'm not full. I'm like, the only method I follow is the horn method, you know, and what feels good to me and what gives me results and what helps me tap in.
Love that.
I think that's what's most important.
Excellent.
Awesome. I think we got Jaunice back.
Hi. Yes. Thank you all. Appreciate you being patient with me. Christine, I love your work. And I tell you, just sitting here watching you, I couldn't hear anything, but I was like, she's giving off a Shirley vibe, right? And then you say you from Jamaica. I can see it. It's just I love Jamaican women. They have like the crown. You can feel the crown. So speaking of that, speaking of being a woman, I often wonder, how hard is it to do the intimate scenes, especially if you're not feeling somebody and you're not attracted to. I know you're an actress, but I would have a hard time. So I often wondered, how do you do that?
That's a good question. You're the first person who's asked me that.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Maybe people are scared to ask it. Well, part of my process is twofold. First of all, I'm grateful for intimacy coordinators. Intimacy coordinators did not exist. They've only been around maybe 6-7 years. It hasn't been a long time. And so that makes the process so much easier when you have a good one, so that everything is choreographed. And it really, actually, Zuri, who is our intimacy coordinator on BMF, she also does P-Valley, a ton of shows. What I love about it is we get the script and we highlight, we're looking at every single line, everything, which means if we say, okay, and Russell's trying to leave the house from the party, we're like, who would make the first move? I'm like, well, I would make the first move. Okay, and then why? Let me talk about why. And what would that look like? If I put my hand here, why would she do that? What does each piece mean? Which really helps to connect to the moment. Another thing that I try to do with, even if it's just a kissing an actor, I try to find something that is attractive to me. Especially if I don't think there's anything attractive, like at a glance. So I'm like, oh, like look at his little ears, or look at his... I have to find something, because I always tell my students, I coach actors also, and I always say the camera's a lie detector and the eyes tell no lies. So if I don't believe it, you're not gonna believe it as the viewer. So I have to find something that makes me smile or tickles me or something. So when I look at you, there's a spark, a glimpse in my eye that feels real.
I feel it right now.
Actively practicing. And I'm good at that. And it's just necessary, because sometimes you meet people at lunch and then you first thing up is you kissing a stranger who've never met. So you have to find quick tips for that. But as far as like this is my first time being this out there. You know, I ran into Lorenz Tate at the Essence Black Women in Hollywood event, and I said, Lorenz, I'm on Black BMF, my titties is out, I'm doing all this stuff. What do you have? And he was just like, just lean into it. Just lean in. But you know, what helps is to know also, because sometimes you think it's just women, we're the only ones feeling like, oh God. But men feel it too. Like, you know, Russell wasn't eating either. We was both hungry, right? You know, the days we were shooting, and just kind of like, it's almost like you mean jumping into a cold pool of water, like a cold pool. Yeah. Like just jump. Like you've agreed to do this. You've agreed to all these things. And at any point in time, you can stop and ask questions, but you get so much clarity on what's going to be shown and how it will be shot. And everything is negotiated. If you see a name, it's negotiated. There's none of that stuff going on. So it was challenging. I just had to get over it. I just had to be like, they out here. Here we go, you know? And I was like, you know, I had fear around, like, God, it's social media. People gonna take screenshots, like all the things. And people will send me screenshots. Like, I know what I look like. Why you send me a screenshot of me? But, you know, I'm like, well, we're telling a story at the end of the day. And in real life, people have sex and they make love and they fuck and they do all the things. Like, so if you're gonna tell a true story, tell the story. Yeah. Take in the middle of shooting, it's so rehearsed, it's not sexy at all. So there's so much extra acting then that has to come on to make it look believable because everything's so choreographed, which makes us all feel safe on set for sure. And a little behind the scenes too, and I think this is important to share. I haven't shared this, but I'll be very transparent, is, it was while shooting BMF, because I was planning my fibroid surgery. I had fibroids, and I was planning my surgery for that September. I was like, I can't believe my first nude scene, I got fibroids. And I'm like, I can't suck in any more than I can. So having all that in my head and trying not to act from that place and just feel confident and beautiful in my body and own it was really necessary for me as Christine, but also as Mabel, because she is just a confident woman. And so that was an interesting journey I took. And I just wanted to share that for anybody out there maybe going through that.
Well, your realness is as warm and beautiful as you are.
Yes.
Absolutely. So this has been a phenomenal interview. I've really enjoyed this a lot. And there's so many more questions. We could probably go down the rabbit hole, but I just want to kind of gauge your time. So I want to make sure you don't need to.
And Monique didn't get a chance to answer the question.
She did.
Oh, she did. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I missed it.
I have about 15 more minutes if you need it.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to ask, because I also seen that you did The Lion King on Broadway, and you have a theater.
I was going to ask
too. And so I always have the sentiment that actresses and actors that come from a Broadway background, it really takes them so much further in their performance. Like, it's just noticeable off the break. And so I was going to say, do you have a preference between theater and being on film and TV?
I love them all. I grew up in the theater. That's how I started. I started performing professionally at age 16 around Atlanta at Seven Stages Theater and Little 5 Points. Like, theater, there's nothing like a live audience, feeling people's energy, the light hitting you, transforming in front of people. There's nothing like that. And so I'm a training ground too, because you get one shot. Ain't no take two. You mess up, well, you on stage in front of everybody. Get it together. And that training is really great for moving into the film and TV genre, because needing to tap in immediately. Film and TV so different, because you can be having a crying emotional scene and then we break for lunch and we'll pick back up after lunch, so you have to have the skill on how to jump right back in there. And I think that's what really helps people who have started in the theater. But at this stage of my life, I have no desire to do 8 shows a week. Beautiful, but it is hard. I think 5 years. It's just not easy. And I enjoy my trailer. I enjoy residual income. I enjoy. I do. I paid those dues, and I'm not saying I would never go back. I think my life, it might look like a limited engagement. How a lot of celebrities will come and do a limited engagement on Broadway. I would love to do something like that. But at this stage, I'm just building this momentum now, and I just love the lens. I love manipulating the lens, is what I call it, and letting it play to me, and just trying on so many different characters and working with so many different directors. It helps me grow, because for each episode of a TV show, you have a different director. Every director has a different style where they like to work, and you have to adapt, and that helps me. It helps to stretch me in a really good way.
Wow.
But you sing too. So any plans for any projects?
Oh, I kind of put singing on the back burner. I have 2 albums out that I released years ago. But acting just took the forefront. I joke and say, maybe when I'm 60, 70, if I feel like putting out an album in my home studio, I'll do that, and I sing to my dog and my turtles all the time. And I'm manifesting a project where I get to sing on camera. That's what I would
like a biopic or something.
Yeah, anything, or musical movie, that's what I'd love to do.
As a career coach, how are you finding that? Is that something that you love? Would I say more than some of the other things? I mean, you are an award-winning actress, you're an author, a singer, and now a career coach. So, and that's very interesting to me. How are you finding that as a career?
I love it. It honestly just feels, I often say this, it's like an assignment. People say, Christine, you working, you don't have to do that. I know I don't have to. I enjoy it. I believe in lifting as I climb. I try to be the coach that I wish I had when I moved to LA the first time and was struggling, fresh off Broadway, talented, but no agent, no auditions. And I didn't know what was wrong and feeling lost and seeing my friends working. And I'm over here like, no one, hello, So the path to coaching actors just kind of started in 2017. I would just go on Facebook Live and just be like, hey, I just left this audition, or I didn't get that job, and I'd be crying and that people just started to raise their hand and ask questions and were really shocked by my transparency. And I just started teaching. We made a Facebook group, and that's what's called Hollywood Bound Actors. It's grown so huge now. And my whole thing was, well, if I can give a tip, if I could save you 5 years, let me save you 5 years. And, in those moments when I was first doing it, it was in between some extra income on the side, but then I just really got really passionate about it, and seeing people win who have connected with me just fuels me and feeds my soul. And I just operate from an abundant place. There's enough for everybody. You cannot take what's mine. I cannot take what's yours. So just help people. And what I find, it's a ripple effect, because if I help, then you help, and then you help, and you help, and you help, because that's what we need. So I do it. I do a conference every year. I have a conference coming up called Booking Magnet Live. It'll be this summer, July. We did one last year, and I love it. I believe I see that being the thing. I kind of see that turning into like an Essence Fest-ish event for actors and creatives. That's my big vision. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Like, I was a kid in elementary school selling now latest for 20. I love business. I'm a business woman. I just, everything I do, it just that thrills me. I love going to seminars and conferences and studying and learn about marketing. And I think that helps me in my acting career too, because I know how to show up and say, hey, I exist. You should know me. That's why I trademarked the booking magnet. I have trained everyone to call me that. I've trained people to speak life to me.
That part, all of that.
So it's like, I just love that. So yeah, it feels like I definitely don't coach as much one-on-one as I used to. I have a very small roster of people just because I don't have the time. But I have an online course. Like, everything I learned about television, I put in the course called Book More TV. People's like, how do you do it? Like, just buy the course. If you don't want to invest in yourself, that's on you. But I literally just put everything I know in there. And I was like, if you follow it, I have hundreds of testimonials from people who just followed what I did. And I'm like, I don't have to hold anything. I think that's just the gift of that, when you understand that there's enough for everybody.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think that was very, very smart. And like you said, you are an entrepreneur to think to even document the process and monetize it.
Yeah. Because trust me, everybody want to pick your brain for coffee.
Ain't no free lunch.
Drink coffee. I don't even drink coffee. No, no, you can't. You can pick up this invoice. Is what you can. Yourself, because those who pay attention.
Oh,
I heard that.
Excellent.
I like it.
Well, thank you so much, Christine. This has really been phenomenal. I think we all have enjoyed this thoroughly.
Absolutely.
Yes, we appreciate you taking the time, and we look forward to supporting your future projects. I think you mentioned it's Clarified on Netflix. Classified. Sorry, I misheard that. So Classified on Netflix. So we're looking forward to catching you in that.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. This was fun. I hadn't done this before.
Could I just say, Christine, I mean, everybody can see it. You exude confidence.
She sure does.
But can I tell you, just your mannerisms, your cadence, your aura, everything about you says I can do anything and I can play anybody. So I know it's always up to the actor, but I think I could see you in any role. It's just, you're like a chameleon.
I received that. Yes.
Again, Jamaican women. I'm telling you,
Yes,
it's Jamaican women.
Really, she's very regal. Like, she just,
they are like that.
Hey, I married one, so I know. I know.
And I'm excited for all that is open and available to all the good things. So
Absolutely.
Well, we will be supporting you.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I'll have an amazing night, and I look forward to catching this wherever this will be. I'm sure my Trey will tell me where.
Oh yes, I will make sure that Trey gets the link and everything. Thank you for this opportunity.
definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great meeting you. Thank you
Good night
so
now.
much.
Ever since I know your name, you struck me on this cloud for a joyride. Hope every kiss would be the same, and every hug will last forever. With you, my love.